I had to make things right with her. Those words shattered everything Zara thought she knew about love. She stood frozen in her kitchen, phone trembling in her hands. Her banking app stared back at her like a death sentence. 4,800,000 Nigerian nairas gone. Every single naira she had saved for their dream wedding vanished. Her fiancé Devin sat calmly on the couch, no shock, no surprise. Just that cold, calculating smile she'd never seen before. Her! Zara's voice cracked like broken glass. The wedding dress, hanging in her closet, suddenly felt like a funeral shroud. The ring on her finger burned like fire. Devin picked up his keys with the casual indifference of someone taking out trash. My ex needed help getting back on her feet, he said, walking toward the door. Not walking, strutting, like he'd just won something. Zara's world tilted sideways. The man who had whispered forever into her ear just last night had stolen her entire future. Not borrowed, not asked, stolen. Her legs gave out. She collapsed onto the kitchen floor, the smell of the dinner she'd been cooking filling her nostrils. A dinner for a man who had just destroyed her. In that moment, Zara didn't just lose money. She lost her faith in everything she thought was real. 3 days. Zara hadn't eaten in 3 days. Food tasted like ash. Water felt like poison. Her body was present, but her soul had been ripped out and thrown away. She sat on her bed, staring at the wall where she'd hung their engagement photos. His smile in those pictures now looked sinister. Predatory. How had she missed it? Her landlord, Mr. Emeka, knocked softly on her door. When he saw her hollow eyes, he didn't ask for rent. He just nodded and walked away. Even strangers could see she was broken. Her friends had warned her. A man who guards his phone is guarding secrets, they'd said. But love had made her deaf. Love had made her stupid. Love had made her blind. Now she replayed every conversation, every kiss, every promise. All lies. Beautiful, convincing lies wrapped in I love you, and we'll build a life together. The wedding invitations were still stacked on her table. The venue deposit receipt was in her drawer. The cake tasting appointment was still in her calendar. Everything a mockery. Everything a crime scene. She pulled out her phone and stared at Devin's number. Her finger hovered over the call button. But what would she say? Please give me back my dreams. Please explain why you destroyed me. Instead, she blocked his number. Some betrayals don't deserve explanations. They deserve silence. Midnight. Zara couldn't sleep. The questions in her head were louder than screams. Who was this woman worth 4,800,000 Nigerian nairas? What kind of person could make a man throw away love for lust? Her fingers moved across her phone's screen like a detective. Social media became her crime scene. And then she found her. Simone Adelic. The name hit her like a truck. Perfect skin. Perfect hair. Perfect everything. 120,000 followers. Every photo looked like a magazine cover. Designer clothes, luxury vacations, professional shoots. This wasn't just Devin's ex. This was his obsession. Zara scrolled deeper, her heart pounding with each image. Then she saw the comments that stopped her breathing. Can't wait for the wedding, queen. You deserve this happiness after everything. Most beautiful bride-to-be ever. Zara's phone slipped from her hands. Devin wasn't just back with his ex. He was marrying her. With Zara's money. With Zara's dreams. With Zara's future. The humiliation burned hotter than the betrayal. She had been played, used, discarded, like trash. But as she stared at Simone's perfect face, something inside Zara shifted. The tears stopped. The shaking stopped. The victim inside her died. And something dangerous was born. Something calculating. Something that understood the game Devin thought he was playing. He had taught her the rules. Now she would show him how to lose. Zara woke up different. Not broken. Not crying. Cold. Focused. Deadly calm. She stared at herself in the mirror and saw a stranger. Someone who had been naive enough to trust a snake. But snakes could be handled if you knew how to cut off their heads. She picked up her phone and called Kemi, her friend who worked in real estate. I need a favor, Zara said, her voice steady as steel. That venue Devin booked for his wedding. Who owns it? Kemi was confused but didn't ask questions. 2 hours later, she called back. You won't believe this, Kemi said. It's owned by Mrs. Adunny Becaire. The name hit Zara like lightning. Mrs. Adunny, the woman Zara had saved 3 years ago. Bruised, beaten, thrown out by her abusive husband with nothing. Zara had given her shelter, money, legal help. She had rebuilt Mrs. Adunny's life from ashes. The universe had just handed Zara the keys to revenge. "Get me her number," Zara whispered. That evening, her phone rang. "Zara, my daughter." Mrs. Adunny's voice was warm but strong. "I heard what happened. I need your help," Zara said simply. "You saved me when I had nothing," Mrs. Adunny replied. "Now it's my turn to save you." "Not save me," Zara corrected, her voice like ice. "Help me save herself." The plan began forming in her mind. Not revenge. Justice. They had stolen her money, her dreams, her dignity. Now she would take something from them that money couldn't buy back. Their perfect day, their peace, their pride, and they would never see it coming. The wedding day arrived like a perfect storm. Sunshine, flowers, Lies dressed in white silk. Devin and Simone pulled up in a stretched white Bentley. Cameras flashed. Guests cheered. Social media went wild with hashtags. Hashtag Devin and Simone forever. Hashtag love wins. Hashtag perfect couple. But Zara sat in her car across the street. Dark sunglasses. Iced coffee in her hand. Watching like a predator studying prey. She wasn't bitter anymore. She was surgical. Everything had been arranged with Mrs. Adunny days before. Every detail planned. Every moment calculated. The bride stepped out first, her dress sparkling like diamonds. Designer everything. Paid for with stolen dreams. Devin followed, waving at cameras like he was royalty. His smile was the same one he'd used to lie to Zara. Confident. Charming. Fake. They walked toward the venue entrance, hands intertwined. The picture of perfect love, but perfect pictures could be shattered, and Zara was about to prove it. As they reached the ornate doors, the venue manager stepped forward. His face was stone-cold serious. "I'm sorry," he announced loudly. "There's been a mistake." The music stopped. Cameras paused. Guests froze. "Your booking has been canceled. You cannot use this venue today." Devin's face went white. Simone's perfect smile cracked like broken glass. "What do you mean canceled?" Devin stammered. "You need to leave. Immediately." The manager's voice carried across the silent crowd. From her car, Zara took a slow sip of her coffee. Phase 1 complete. Devin grabbed Simone's hand and ran. Away from the cameras. Away from the whispers. Away from the humiliation. His face was burning with shame, but his mind was racing. "Don't worry, baby," he told Simone as they drove frantically through Lagos traffic. "We'll go to our new house. Everything will be fine." Simone's makeup was starting to smudge. Her perfect Instagram moment had become a nightmare. "How could they just cancel like that?" she screamed. Devin didn't answer. He couldn't answer. Because deep down, something felt wrong. Very wrong. They pulled up to the house Devin had bought with Zara's stolen money. The house he bragged about online. The house that was supposed to be their palace. But as they approached the front door, Devin's heart stopped. New locks. New gates. New everything. His keys didn't work. He tried again. And again. Nothing. "What's happening?" Simone's voice was rising to panic levels. That's when Devin saw the envelope slipped under the door. With shaking hands, he opened it. Inside was a legal document. Property deed. But the owner's name wasn't his. It was Zara Okafor. The woman he betrayed had somehow taken his house. His legs gave out. He collapsed on the steps like a broken puppet. "You lied about everything." Simone screamed, her designer heels clicking as she paced. The dream house was gone. The wedding was destroyed. And Devin finally understood the game he'd been playing. He thought he was the hunter, but he'd always been the prey. Zara hadn't just taken back her money. She'd taken his entire future and left him with nothing but the taste of his own medicine. Rain began falling like tears from heaven. Devin and Simone stood outside the house that wasn't theirs. Soaked. Humiliated. Destroyed. Simone's wedding dress clung to her body like wet tissue paper. Her false eyelashes were sliding down her cheeks. The perfect bride had become a drowned rat. "Call a hotel," she demanded through chattering teeth. Devin pulled out his phone with trembling fingers. "Four Seasons Lagos." "Yes, I need your best suite." Declined. Eco Hotel. Presidential Suite. Declined. Any room, please. Declined. Every card. Every account. Blocked. Frozen. Dead. Simone stared at him like he'd grown a second head. What do you mean declined? You said you were rich. Devon's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. He had no words. No explanations. No solutions. Just the crushing realization that Zara had thought of everything. Every account she'd helped him open. Every investment she'd advised. Every financial door she'd helped him unlock. All of it was gone. In desperation, Devon called his cousin Femi. Please, I need help. Just for tonight. Femi wasn't happy, but family was family. They arrived at a tiny one-room apartment in Mushin. No air conditioning. Broken fan. One thin mattress on the floor. Cockroaches as roommates. Simone looked around in horror. This wasn't the luxury life Devon had promised. This was poverty. Real, crushing, humiliating poverty. She sat on the mattress, her designer dress spread around her like wilted petals. This is your future, my love, she whispered, her voice dripping with venom. Devon sat in the corner, finally understanding the magnitude of his betrayal. He hadn't just stolen money. He'd stolen from someone who had trusted him completely, and now karma was collecting its debt. With interest. 1 week later, the internet exploded. Someone had been taking pictures, before and after shots that told the whole story. Picture 1, Devon and Simone arriving at their wedding. Smiling. Waving. Perfect. Picture 2, the same couple hours later. Sitting on a dirty mattress. Broken. Defeated. Lost. The caption read, "From Bentley to broke, when karma comes calling skull." Within hours, it was everywhere. Twitter. Instagram. TikTok. Facebook. The hashtag Devon and Simone reality was trending worldwide. But then someone dug deeper. They found Zara's story. How Devon had stolen her wedding money. How he'd used it to marry his ex. How Zara had disappeared without a word. Until now, the internet went insane. She didn't need to say anything. She just let karma speak. This is how you handle betrayal. In silence. Zara is the queen we didn't know we needed. Hashtag Silent Queen started trending. Hashtag Zara Energy became a movement. Women who had been betrayed, used, and discarded found their voice in her silence. She never posted, never tweeted, never gave interviews, but her name was in every conversation about justice, about dignity, about rising above betrayal without becoming bitter. Devon couldn't show his face anywhere. Simone deleted all her social media accounts. They had become the internet's cautionary tale, a lesson in what happens when you betray someone who loved you. Meanwhile, Zara sat in her apartment, reading the comments with a cup of tea. She smiled for the first time in months, not because she'd hurt them, but because she'd found something more powerful than revenge. She'd found peace, and the whole world was watching her win. In silence, 2 years passed like healing rain. Zara opened Second Chances Bridal, not just a boutique, a sanctuary for women who had been broken but refused to stay down. Divorced mothers trying on white dresses for the second time. Widows ready to love again. Survivors of abuse learning to feel beautiful. Each dress told a story of resurrection. Each customer was a warrior in silk and lace. Zara didn't advertise on social media. Didn't need to. Word of mouth was her marketing. Hope was her brand. She designed gowns that whispered, "You are worthy and you are enough." Every stitch was sewn with intention. Every bead placed with purpose. Her waiting list was 6 months long. But she was in no rush. Good things took time. Healing took time. Rebuilding took time. Her shop became legendary. Not for the dresses, but for the transformation that happened when women put them on. They walked in broken. They walked out believing. Zara had found her calling. Not in revenge. Not in bitterness. But in lifting other women from the ashes of their own burnt dreams. She worked quietly. Lived peacefully. Loved herself completely. The girl who once cried over a stolen future had become the woman who helped others write new endings. And every night, as she locked up her shop, she whispered a prayer of gratitude. Not for what was taken from her, but for what she had built from the ruins. Her life wasn't the fairy tale she'd planned. It was something better. It was real. It was hers, and no one could steal it. The knock on her shop door came at closing time. Zara looked up from her sketches to see a ghost from her past. Devon. But not the Devon she remembered. This man was hollow, thin, broken. His clothes hung loose like borrowed skin. His eyes were empty wells. Dark circles told stories of sleepless nights. He stood outside her glass door like a beggar, which, Zara realized, is exactly what he had become. She could have ignored him, could have called security, could have turned off the lights and pretended not to see. But curiosity was stronger than anger. She unlocked the door. Zara, his voice cracked like dried leaves. Please, I need help. The irony hit her like lightning. The man who had stolen her future was now begging for his. I lost everything, he continued, his hand shaking. Simone left me 6 months ago. Took what little I had left. Of course she did. Predators always abandon sinking ships. I can't eat, can't sleep, can't work. Everyone knows what I did. Zara studied his face, searched for the charming smile that had once fooled her. Found nothing but genuine desperation. This wasn't the confident man who had walked out of her kitchen. This was Karma's final masterpiece. A broken boy who had played with fire and got burned. She reached into her desk drawer. Not for money. Not for forgiveness. For something else entirely. A business card. Start there, she said, handing it to him. It was for a therapist. Someone who specialized in narcissistic behavior and emotional recovery. Devon stared at the card like it was written in a foreign language. I don't want your apology, Zara said quietly. I want you to get help. And with that, she walked away. Not because she forgave him, but because forgiveness was for her, not him. 5 years had passed since the wedding that never happened. Zara stood in her expanded boutique, now a 3-story empire. Second Chances had become Second Chances International. Branches in London, New York, Dubai. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the mission. Over 10,000 women had walked through her doors. 10,000 stories of resilience. 10,000 new beginnings. She employed 200 people. All women. All survivors. All warriors. Her team included former abuse victims, who now counsel brides. Divorced mothers who designed strength into every seam. Widows who understood that love could bloom again. They didn't just sell dresses. They sold hope. They sold healing. They sold the radical idea that your worth wasn't determined by someone else's ability to love you. Zara never married. Never felt the need to. She had married herself long ago. Committed to her growth. Promised to honor her journey. Vowed to never again give someone else the power to destroy her peace. She traveled the world now. Spoke at conferences about resilience. Wrote a book called Silent Queens, How to Win Without Fighting. It became a bestseller in 47 countries. But she still lived simply, still cooked for herself, still found joy in small moments. She had learned the secret that most people never discover. Happiness doesn't come from getting what you want. It comes from wanting what you have. And she had everything she needed. A purpose, peace, power over her own destiny. The woman who once stirred stew with tears in her eyes now stirred inspiration into the hearts of millions. She had not just survived her betrayal. She had transformed it into her superpower. 10 years later, Zara received a package with no return address. Inside was a letter and a death certificate. Devon Adelik, age 35. Cause of death, suicide. Her hands trembled as she read the letter that came with it. Ms. Okafor, my name is Dr. Sarah Okoye. I was Devon's therapist for the past 3 years. He asked me to send you this letter if anything ever happened to him. You should know that he spent his final years working at a rehabilitation center for men who had abused women. He never tried to contact you again after that day at your shop. But he spoke of you often. Not with excuses, not with self-pity, but with genuine remorse and respect for who you became. He said you saved his life by giving him that business card. Not because you loved him, but because you chose healing over hatred. He wanted you to know that watching your success from afar gave him hope that broken people could still do good in the world. In his final months, he helped 47 men recognize and change their abusive patterns. He died believing that maybe, just maybe, he had found a way to balance the scales. This doesn't erase what he did to you, But I thought you should know that your refusal to seek revenge created a ripple effect that saved other women from experiencing what you endured. Your silence was louder than any words could have been. Your healing helped heal others. Even him. Zara set the letter down with shaking hands. She felt no satisfaction in his death. No closure. No victory. Just the stunning realization that her choice to heal